Welcome everyone. In this video, we will be taking a quick look at two different ways to do a CORA evaluation in Animator 4. The first way is using the curve rating window that can be found under curve rating. The second way is using the CORA evaluation tool that can be found under user tools pop-up. CORA is an algorithm that calculates the level of correlation between two non-ambiguous signals, for example, time histories. The result ranges from 0 to 1, with 1 representing a perfect match within the defined tolerances. More information on the CORA algorithm can be found at pdb-org.com. Here is a link. On this website, you'll be able to find the example data used in this video, and also scientific papers and documentation which explain the motivation and methods of CORA. Let's first take a look at the curve rating window. This window is documented in detail in the Animator Reference Manual under Explanation of the Operating Windows and then under Curve Rating. Here one can perform 4 different ratings. We have 4 different tabs. Let's carry out the corridor correlation and the cross correlation evaluation together. Here we need a reference curve and a comparison curve. The reference curve is usually test data, so let's select some test curves. Test 01. Then we have the comparison curve. The comparison curve is usually simulation data. So let's select some simulation curves. So we can select CAE 01 and we can choose a new slot. So the reference curve was in the first slot, the comparison curve was in the second slot. Let's choose a curve for the reference curve. We can just choose the first one. And a curve for the comparison curve. We can just choose the first one. The other inputs here we can just leave as standard. And we want to create a new curve view. Press apply. So we see here this red curve in the middle here. That is our reference curve. So that is our test data. And then we see we have a small corridor either side of this test data and then a larger corridor here and here. The blue curve in this case is our simulation data. So let's do the same for cross correlation. Our comparison curve was in the second slot. We can choose our reference curve once again and a comparison curve once again. And we want to create a new curve. Press apply. So now we're looking at cross-correlation. The plot that we see here is the result of the maximum cross-correlation calculation. And that is where the reference curve has been shifted left and right until the maximum cross-correlation occurs. So now we can clean up here. So now let's take a look at the CORA evaluation tool under User Tools pop-up. If we click on the manual, we will be able to see the documentation for the CORA evaluation tool. In the documentation, there is also a link to the PDB website, which we described earlier. Let's look at two ways to run the CORA evaluation tool. The first way is to click the CORA evaluation button, and then we would select a control file. The second way is if we want to create a presentation, and therefore we write a command. With -p for a presentation. Now we can select our control file. And you may be wondering, what is a control file? The control file is a plain text file describing the way in which the evaluation should be performed. A detailed description of this control file and the layout is on the PDB website available. Now the evaluation will take a moment, and therefore I will see you soon. So welcome back. Now we have a detailed presentation. This presentation is, in this case, for many different load cases with many different curves. And we see here that we have real animator curves, and these curves are also available in the curve list. If one wants to customize the layout of the presentation or the way it looks and the information there are presentation session files, and these presentation session files are described in the documentation. Now, you may be wondering why there are two ways to use CORA. We have the curve rating window, and we have the CORA evaluation tool here on the right. Now, the curve rating window is best suited for trying out different CORA settings when one has a new data type, or when one wants to simply learn CORA session commands. When one carries out an evaluation in the curve window, one also sees which commands were used. If we scroll back, we see here the commands which were used. One could also use that in a session file. Now on the right here we have the CORA evaluation tool. This is best suited for automation. That is, when one is happy with the CORA settings and one wishes to carry out an evaluation for multiple load cases with many curves. Right, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.